2023 was a year that the tech industry was dominated by generative AI. Moreover, its widespread adoption extended into the consumer market, with TikTokers and influencers alike discussing LLMs, large language models. Here's a look back at the top 10 moments of Gen AI in 2023. On March 14th, 2023, OpenAI released the next version of their multimodal large language model, ChatGPT 4.0, less than 4 months after the public release of ChatGPT 3.5 on November 30th, 2022. Now, compared to the 175 billion parameters in GPT 3.5, GPT-4's current estimates are over 100 trillion parameters. By September, OpenAI claimed GPT's ability to see, hear, and speak, and when combined with DALL-E, OpenAI's image generation model, featured the ability to be able to create images, a big step forward in content creation. It also represented the first monetization of Gen AI Access, with the launch of a paid subscription for an enhanced version. Microsoft soon followed with the integration of ChatGPT 4.0 in their search engine Bing, which leads us to our next top Gen AI moment of 2023. It didn't take long for ChatGPT to gain competition, with clones coming out of the woodwork to grab a share of the Gen AI craze. Google released their AI chatbot with Bard, powered by Lambda, and Anthropic released Claude 2.0 in July. On the large language model front, Amazon released their Bedrock foundational model service, featuring pre-trained models from their Titan family. Meta released Llama 2, and not to be outdone, Google released their multimodal model, Gemini, in December. Each iteration of chatbot and model boasted performance and processing gains, but it still left a lot of concerns around accuracy and hallucinations, leaving many to question its real business value and safety in the enterprise space. Which brings us to our next top moment in Gen AI for 2023. On April 26th, 2023, Google CEO Sundar Pichai sat down with CBS 60 Minutes correspondent Scott Pelley to discuss the AI phenomenon, introducing the world to the AI problem of hallucinations, reminding us of that infamous debut of Bard in February of 2023, where the AI chatbot presented factual errors as truth. A debut that impacted Google to lose $100 billion in value, roughly 9% in just one day of trading. And as these models increase their ability to process more and more parameters, the impact of hallucinations continues to grow, which leads us to our next top moment in Gen AI for 2023. With the growing concerns around data leakage and negative impact to brand and reputation due to AI-based inaccuracies and hallucinations, only to be exacerbated by the growing use of Gen AI, it was really only a matter of time before both regulators and legislators would step in to stem the tide. In September, Gavin Newsom signed an executive order around the governed use of AI, with President Biden shortly following in October. The European Union's AI Act, first proposed in April of 2021, reached provisional status on December 9th, 2023 between Parliament and the Council, with the next step being the formal adoption of the agreement for it to become EU law. AI governance, and in particular Gen AI governance, quickly became the priority, which leads us to our next top moment in Gen AI for 2023. On February 6, 2023, Getty Images sued Stability AI for its misuse of over 12 million Getty photos to train its Stable Diffusion AI image generation model, and doing so without a license. Now, this calls into question the use of all curated foundational models, as quick adoption of Gen AI is based on ease of use. You can use these models that are already trained and just focus on integrating them programmatically. The downside? The consumer has no idea what data has been used to train these models. Further, who ultimately owns indemnification, especially when considering copyright infringement or fair use? Given the speed at which these models can mimic content creators, when does in the style of prompting become misuse? On the positive side, could this be an opportunity for creators to license their style, like college athletes in the name, image, likeness ruling? As Gen AI continues to mature, consumers will become even savvier in their use of prompt engineering, and Gen AI platforms will continue to provide low code options to make programming Gen AI functionality even easier. Which leads us to our next top moment in Gen AI for 2023. On November 6th of 2023, OpenAI hosted their first developer conference, OpenAI Dev Day. Now, during this conference, CEO Sam Altman announced the GPT Store, allowing users to share their GPT inspired creations, essentially commoditizing development efforts for Gen AI infused workloads, similar to what the Apple's App Store did for mobile apps. Now, the GPT Store will also feature compliance requirements, addressing some of the key concerns around guardrails and indemnification, but certainly not all. Now, regardless of the concerns and risks, adoption of Gen AI and LLMs have not slowed down and, in fact, only accelerated. And with better accuracy and relevance attainable through model tuning and RAG, retrieval augmented generation, Gen AI customization initiatives have exploded, which really leads us to our next top moment in Gen AI for 2023. While LangChain first launched in October of 2022, it incorporated in April of 2023 as a startup, raising over $20 million at a valuation of over $200 million from VC firm Sequoia Capital. It gained popularity with its framework's ability to simplify the process for aggregating data, specifically for activities like summarization, retrieval augmented generation, and synthetic data generation, as well as few-shot learning prompt generation support. LangChain also introduced the concept of the agent, where an agent can choose a sequence of actions. As for which actions to take, that's decided by the LLM, acting as a reasoning agent determining what action to take and in which order. Leveraging this function, enterprise adoption of Gen AI begins to increase, which leads us to our next top moment in Gen AI for 2023. On September 21st, 2023, Microsoft announced the general availability of Microsoft 365 Copilot and Microsoft 365 Chat, formerly Bing Chat Enterprise. The cost? $30 per user per month, more than the cost of an Office 365 E3 subscription. Now, considering Microsoft's continued investment in the partnership with OpenAI, their third multi-billion phase, adding to an already committed $3 billion investment prior, it's not really surprising to see the cost so high. That's the price you pay for ease of use. Now, Microsoft Copilot also features a full Gen AI infused access to all of the major Office 365 software titles, as well as integration between suites and other Microsoft services. The only drawback? Well, Gen AI requires a ton of processing power, primarily NVIDIA GPUs that are increasingly running into supply chain issues given the ever increasing demand. Estimates are that by 2025, Gen AI will account for more than 6% of the world's total processing power, which leads us to our next top moment in Gen AI for 2023. With NVIDIA holding a near monopoly on the GPU market, new entrants were invariably going to enter. AMD released a stable version of their ROCm software stack that focuses on enhancing AI capabilities for their Radeon GPUs. Intel unveiled their competitive GPU Gaudi version 3 running on Habana. Samsung's announcement of Gauss AI, image, text, and code generation, will run on their Snapdragon and Exynos chips. Amazon also introduced Graviton updates designed by Anandpura Labs, where its version 3 ARM-based chip processor provides 3 times performance gains but utilizes 60% less energy versus the Graviton 2. Even Microsoft is getting into the game with Azure Maya 100 and Cobalt 100 chips and will focus on AI delivered in their Azure cloud. The GPU landscape may become even more fragmented in 2024, which leads us to our last top moment of Gen AI in 2023. In a coup that can only be described as a script from an Aaron Sorkin sequel to 2010's The Social Network, OpenAI's board decides to unceremoniously remove Sam Altman as the CEO of the company he started. The reason? Still not fully known. The alleged mastermind behind the ousting was Ilya Sutskever, OpenAI's chief scientist, and his message was simple: the differences between their pursuit of AGI, artificial general intelligence, and Altman's new quest towards commercialization, which was in direct conflict with the organization's original mission. But then a plot twist, with Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella voicing his fury, as well as a number of OpenAI board members that resigned in protest. Sam Altman would return to his CEO role only 5 turbulent days later. I guess commercialization is not only important in the GPU chip making world after all. And that about wraps up our look back at the top 10 moments in generative AI for 2023. I hope you enjoyed our stroll down memory lane and hope to see you soon with our top predictions for Gen AI in 2024. Stay tuned.